Pablo José Ramirez. I am a curator here at the Hammer Museum, and we are in one of the gallery spaces of this amazing show, Only the Young, which is looking at practices of the Korean avant-garde in the 60s and the 70s. Very, very large community of Korean American living in LA, the largest after Korea, so it's pretty important just to show Korean art in this city, and people seeing themselves reflected in these histories, in these works, in the materiality, in the images that they see in a show. This is the first time that a show of this scale is happening in this city around Korean experimental art. So it's a pretty historical show. You'll find objects, but also you'll find documents, newspaper, art magazines of these incredible decades of the 60s and 70s, with artists really pushing the boundaries of artistic practice and kind of breaking apart with the canon of what it was Korean art at the time. So this is a work by Lee Son-taek. Lee Son-taek is probably one of the most better known Korean avant-garde artists. Lee Son-taek started to experiment with craft and vernacular materials, kind of looking at Korean history and Koreanness, and through those materials engaging with practices of fine arts and modernisms. So he was a pretty radical artist of the time. Like doing this in the 70s was a very radical gesture, right? Like when most of the artists were doing painting and this more kind of traditional form of gestural abstraction, Lee Son-taek was doing these sculptures that were meant to be shown publicly. All of this was for outdoor spaces. So it's a pretty unique work. Yeah. That is in dialogue with, you could say that with some kind of tradition of pop art, but at the same time the artist is looking, you see this mask, is looking at the history of the Korean War, like the separation between North and South Korea. So these artists were also coming from a place of, discovery, but also trauma and survival. So, it's a pretty interesting piece, because on one hand it's very colorful and almost celebratory, while on the other hand it's talking about the war, right?
So we are the Hammer Museum extremely excited to welcome experimental Korean art for the first time in the West Coast of the United States. But we are hoping that we appeal to the different demographics of our society, because it's very important for us at the Hammer Museum. Even as myself, as an immigrant, I think it's extremely important. As a proud immigrant to this country, I think it's extremely important to honor the diversity of that characterizes our society.
If I have to choose one, probably I would choose Park Hyun-ki. It's the last gallery with this tower of stones and a TV monitor. So Park Hyun-ki was looking at the tradition of putting stones into like these towering sites. That was a sort of shamanistic practice back in the days, and he would tell the story of how he was escaping the war, kind of going south with his family while finding these towers of stones just in the road. Signaling, safe places or just community gatherings. So I think it's a very wonderful piece. Museums are, places where different communities and different histories collide and converge. So I think you need to just come like with no prejudices and just enjoy the show. You can, again, just have a very personal kind of sensorial experience with the works, or if you are interested in history and in art history, then you can actually just spend more time, read the text and do the thing, right? So kind of depends. So yeah, please come. The Hammer is free, and everyone is invited. It's coming to the Hammer, I think, is a good experience. You can see art, you can also hang in the terrace, you can hang with your family, and so yeah. Just come and see this show.
I want to welcome everybody to the Hammer. You have so many exhibitions at your disposal. You have a fantastic restaurant called Lulu, it's by Alice Waters. We have public programs all the time, every single day of the week, it's always a good time just to experience art, right? So even like you can bring your family, you can bring your date, you can bring your partner, a potential new friend, and perhaps you can even meet make new friends here, or partners. You never know.